That should be better. There we go. This is what happens when I don't live stream in like forever. Um, it I forget how to do everything. Good to see you all again. It's been a long time since I live streamed. It's been a long time since I posted a video. Been busy, and then also took a bit of a break for Christmas and stuff like that. So I hope you all doing well. I hope you all had a great Christmas. I wanted to start this live stream out by talking about some of my favorite gear from this last year that either has come out this last year or that I've purchased this last year. Actually, a fair amount of this I just purchased. So I don't even have to say this video is sponsored or anything like that. But good to see you all, and thank you for being here. I do have a new video coming tomorrow, which will be one of the pieces of gear I've got here. But in the meantime, I know Alaska Filmer was here. Fly Zone, good to see you. Kevin, Arizona Drone Dude. Kyle Watts, what's happening, man? Supramana Man 88. Supraman 88. Okay. I'm guessing that has reference to a car. Ricard, One Vision Aerial, 107 Drones. Tech for your needs. Let's see, who else? Big Water, excuse me. Big Water UAV, and I don't even have my water bottle down here. Dang it. Oh well. Tar Heel, a whole bunch of you. Joe Blaylock, and Brian Peterson. Oh, Jackson's Drones. Good to see you all. And Mark H. Lynn Smith. I think it's everybody. Welcome to the stream. Glad you all could be here. If you don't know, when I do this stream, which has been less often lately, but the whole point of this stream is for questions and answers, for us to be able to have more of a conversation about questions you might have on, whatever piece of gear you're thinking about buying, or how to do something, any of that. This is the point, the place where we can actually do that. Why is my focus messing up? Anyway, so, that's why. Hold on, I gotta change something. There we go. Now, so what have I been up to? Joe Playlock. I've been working a lot. I have been traveling too much and working a lot. Mostly that. My last trip out, I condensed about a week of work into 4 days so that I could get home early and avoid some of what ended up being insane travel delays for most people traveling around Christmas time. And so I'm very glad that I did that. Sorry, that was also bothering me. There we go. So I'm really glad I did that. I'm glad I was able to do that. But yeah, I was filming a lot of different things in a lot of different places, including Milwaukee, which was really cool. 10 toes. So yeah. Okay. I'm going to probably cut this and put it out as a video later, but today I wanted to tell you some of my favorite gear from 2022. This is mostly gear that I've actually purchased myself, not that has been sent to me, but a couple of things here have been sent to me, and I'll try and make that clear when I do that. But this is really very kind of random stuff. But because I think most of you know my channel is about drones a lot, we'll start with drones. And I gotta say, my absolute favorite drone from this year has been the Mavic 3. This drone, I have been using it a ton. And I'm gonna have a video, like a 1-year review. It's over a year now. But a 1-year review video coming soon. So if you're watching this on a replay, then you'll probably see it. It'll be already up. But the Mavic 3 has been an incredible drone, and I'm glad they finally released the Mavic 3 Classic. That gives you a less expensive option for the Mavic 3, because the image quality coming out of this main sensor is superb. And people say blah, whatever they want to say. I've been shooting a lot of TV shows on this. I've shot a lot of commercial stuff on this, and I mean commercial stuff like commercial stuff. For use by big brands like Chipotle or FedEx or stuff like that. So yeah, this thing has been a beast. And Bell Helicopters and Caterpillar, all those sort of brands. I've also shot a few independent films with this, or on a few independent films with this. And so the Mavic 3 is an absolutely stellar drone. There's still improvements they can make, but they've really made some really fantastic improvements from when it was first released. And once you kind of get to know what the limitations of this drone are, it really is incredible what this thing can do in a form factor package this size. And along with that, the Mavic 3, my favorite controller is this guy. This little, the DJI RC is so nice. I've been using this. I use the RC Pro when I'm out doing professional gigs. Like I did a live stream sporting event for ESPN a few months ago in Mississippi, and for that I use the RC Pro because I had to do HDMI out and stuff, give them a video signal. But for running around and filming, this is an absolutely fantastic controller, and it works. It kind of is a controller I go with for most things, because it's lightweight, it's simple, battery life is good, screen is bright enough, and oddly enough, the screen recording on this works better than the screen recording on the RC Pro. So yeah, this is another piece of favorite gear from 2022. I would say if you're not in the market for a Mavic 3, that the Mini 3 or Mini 3 Pro is probably where you should go next. I'm sure the Air 2S replacement will be coming sometime next year, April-ish. But until then, those are absolutely fantastic. And then continuing along with drones, I have started being able to use the goggles too from DJI for my FPV stuff, and they are absolutely fantastic, spectacular. They do have a little bit of a fogging issue depending on how you use them and the conditions you use them in. But because I travel so much for work, these are fantastic because they're so much smaller than the other goggles, my old goggles. I still like my old goggles, but those are just for traveling so much better. All right. And then we get to cameras. Okay, cameras. Let's talk about cameras. The A7 IV came out, I think it was actually last year. Was it last year? Or was it early this year? I think it was early this year. And I think that is probably the best hybrid camera for most people. I sold mine. I kind of regret it, but I needed to pay for the A1, which is sitting over there right now. But the A7 IV, I think, is probably the most ideal camera for most people. It's great video, great photos. It just is a really good all-around camera. And so, yeah, I think the A7 IV is probably my favorite camera that came out in 2021 and that I purchased. I really like it. Along that line, this is the Insta360 X3. Video coming tomorrow about this. This is by far my favorite form factor for 360 cameras because the lenses are so close. You get very little stitch line issues, and just overall the quality on this is really good. The audio quality is improved. The video quality from the X2 is definitely better, and some of the other options they give you in this big screen on the front here is just absolutely spectacular. So for I don't know, you can call this an action camera. I probably would still lean toward the GoPro Hero 11, but for like a solo run and gun shooter who really can't think about framing BTS stuff, or like what you'll see in the video tomorrow, this camera was absolutely fantastic. So yay, Insta360. Good job. You're doing great. And then we'll go to lenses, because used a few lenses this year, but I think my favorite lens overall that has come out this year is the 20-40 from Tamron. Let's see if it'll focus on there. There we go. The 20-40 from Tamron. For an all-around lens for full-frame cameras, this thing is just absolutely great because it is a really good f-stop, f2.8 all the way through, and then it's just a really nice focal range for vlogging, for hand-holding and stuff like that. 20 millimeters is about perfect. Jackson's drones. I'll answer your questions here. I'll answer all your questions here in a minute. So, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was audio. It seems ridiculous, but my two favorite audio things, which I have videos coming. I shot them earlier this summer and I just have to get off my butt and edit them. But this, for Sony cameras, this thing is just fantastic. This is the ECM B10. So it's the smaller, cheaper version of the B1. And it is really nice and really good if you have a Sony camera. If you don't have a Sony camera, I'd say probably the best value microphone right now, and what actually is back there, right there on that stand from me recording other videos, is the DD-D4. Absolutely fantastic mic for the price. The features you get, just rock solid, great. But if you're looking for a wireless system, the DJI wireless, or the DJI mic, wireless mic, whatever they're calling it, it's so good. It's such a great system. I still use the Rode Wireless Go 2 for some things, just depending on what I'm doing and the environment I'm in. But for most things, I take this. In fact, the DJI Wireless, I was on a shoot in Los Angeles. Let's see, can I say this? Yeah, I can. I had to make sure. We were using 3 Komodos, and we were filming inside and around SoFi Stadium and a few other things, interviewing a few of the higher-ups that helped develop SoFi Stadium and the mayor of Inglewood and a bunch of stuff like that. These are what we use for audio with a little Shure MVL lapel mic. But the reason we did that was because I push record on the units, stick them on the person. We'd sit down, have a audio track coming into the A camera, the Komodo, Red Komodo A camera, and then, but also have a backup recording. And it was such peace of mind knowing that we had a backup recording, because there was one that we did. It was in the NBC headquarters in LA that, for whatever reason, the headphones that we were using to monitor the audio just were not working on the left side. So we had, the interviewer, or the interviewee, the person who was being interviewed, on the left side, and then the interviewer on the right side. And it was like, oh Lord. But I kept telling the director, I was like, it's fine. I mean, I can see audio coming into the camera, but there is a recording happening on the unit itself. So it's fine. We're fine. Anyway, these things are the bomb. If you're going to go for wireless, like they're awesome. Do you really, Scott? No way. That's awesome. Yeah, we were there. What time we were there? It was late at night. I think it was like 2 hours before the 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock news hour broadcast. But it was late. Yeah, Scott, exactly. And that was the thing. I was like, there's just no way we're gonna risk it. We had a regular Sennheiser system with us, but oddly enough, a pro level Sennheiser system, but oddly enough, this worked best. And yeah, so it was, it's kind of mind blowing because they're also like running around through SoFi Stadium following one of the gentlemen who helped to negotiate and make that whole deal happen to build the SoFi Stadium. And he's walking us through, all these different places in it. And we're using the Ronin 4D and had the DJI mics, and flawless, absolutely flawless, which is amazing. So yeah, I love that. I like the Rodes as well. Yeah, I think I really love the GoPro Hero 11 as an action camera. I did buy a second Action 3 from DJI to test and see if it's working now. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Lighting wise, my absolute favorite lights that have come out this year, which I have a video coming on soon, is the iFootage lights. There's something about the light they put out that is just absolutely spectacular. And it's one of them's over there, one of them's right here. Yeah, but I have a really cool video about going to an ice cave using iFootage lights to create some cool stuff coming. I just need to edit it, or I need to hire an editor, probably is what I need to do. Because I would have a lot more videos out more consistently if I had somebody else editing for me. Anyway, all right, that concludes that portion. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Back to the regular live stream. That's so funny, Scott, that you work at NBC in LA. That's hilarious. I'd have to look up exactly where we were, but we were in one of the main news studios. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head the address where we were. Anyway. All right, let's see. I'd like to see some underwater video and audio for 2023. Underwater video and audio? Like, you want a hydrophone? That could be interesting, I guess. Also, if you're wondering, like, I haven't had my hair cut in 3 months, and I just decided I'm just going to let it go for the winter and see what happens. So if I look more and more unkept as the winter goes on, that's what it is. Mark H, is D-Log my favorite RAW format? Yes, I really like D-Log. It's a surprisingly robust RAW format, log format for drones and for the Ronin 4D, which I've been using a lot lately. It's really great. Jackson's Drones. Have I ever shot footage for the show Alaskan Bush People? I have not, Jackson. Oddly enough, I have not shot any drone footage for any Alaska-based shows that have aired yet. There is a documentary I shot for, but I don't know when it'll be out on Netflix. It might be a while. It's a slow process. Joe Blaylock, your computer couldn't process the images from the Mavic 3, battery lives 4K 30. So Joe, make sure you're shooting in H.264, not H.265, because that makes a big difference on how hard your computer has to work to unpack those files. And then if you have trouble with 4K, I mean, honestly, like the 1080 looks good out of this, 2.7K looks good out of this. I would just shift to that personally. But the image quality out of this, the camera and the lens combo is really good. And I end up shooting with in normal a lot. In fact, I shot a whole bunch of stuff at night with the Mavic 3 all around cities, which is not terribly dark, but it is dark, and it's also terrifying to fly that way. With all the reflections of the glass buildings going around you, it feels like you're going through some sort of Inception movie wormhole thing. It's bizarre and it's terrifying because you don't really know how far away you are, how close you are. It's really difficult to judge distance. Anyway, but I didn't crash, didn't do any bad things, got great footage, and I'm happy with it. In fact, could I play that for you? No, I can't. anyway, I posted on my Instagram or reposted it on my story, I think, but it's probably gone now. Let's see. Air 2S has been a great drone. It has, Mark. Still a solid drone, the Air 2S. I do look forward to seeing if they replace it with something else. It'll be very interesting to see what they do. Jackson's drones. Do all Sony lenses have zoom toggles? You're thinking of getting the ZV-E10, and the kit lens has a zoom toggle, which you really like. So no, not all of them do. If they have the letters PZ, then they do, which this one right here. So this is the 16-35 for full frame, and it has a power zoom because it's f4 PZ 1635G. So if they have PZ, they have a power zoom toggle, and that's what you want if you want to do that. And they generally have a toggle on the side of the lens too, so you can do that. All right. Let's see, Fly Zone. Jeremy, how long am I visiting Alaska for? Yeah, no kidding. You cut me deep right there, man. You cut me deep. I'm around a lot more this month and next month for sure. March, I think, as well. So let's go do some stuff because the Aurora is out. If we can just get the clouds to go away. I want to go climb a mountain and film the Aurora. I also want to film from sunset to blue hour and then film the Aurora. I also don't want to be that cold. So I know and I don't want to be in super avalanche danger. So I know that's getting to be a lot of specifics. I know. And I am going out twice for short stints, one in Florida and one in Vegas in January. But then February, I have one out-of-state trip that's short. And then I think I have one in March. So, yeah. Nintendo's nice. Hydrophone, yes. Mountain. I don't know what I would do with a hydrophone. I mean, it would be cool. I would love to go capture like whale sounds when humpbacks are coming through with a hydrophone. That would be a blast. And I would love to try an underwater drone. Just, I don't know what it is. I see lots of other YouTubers that DJI is working with that have smaller channels than me and produce, I don't know. I mean, they do well producing content, but I don't, it's different than mine because they're in a different place, but it's different. And I see smaller channels that Sony is working with and this other drone manufacturers, underwater drone manufacturer. I don't know. And I reach out to a lot of those companies and I get nothing back from them. So I don't know. I think I am going to plan on going to like CES or NAB this year and try and like make some hard contacts with people, personal contacts. I'd like to go to meet other people who YouTube as well. That'd be really fun. So we'll see. Yeah. Scott W. I don't know though. You have to say DaVinci Resolve for iPad, amazing. What a cool new product, right? So if Apple doesn't come out with Final Cut Pro for the iPad soon, and it doesn't even have to be that super full featured. I would just like to be able to do like basic editing on this in a Final Cut project and then put it on my computer and finish it up or whatever, because it would just be so much nicer and so much easier. Let's see. Snow overload. Yes, well, sort of. Except for it rained. Frozen rained here in Anchorage recently, so that kind of sucked because now everything's super coated with ice and sucky. Yeah, NorCal. It's a heavy snowfall year so far. So, Jeremy, you want to film some snowboarding under the Aurora? Yes, let's do it, dude. I would love to do that with you. And that's the thing. It's when things line up, right? Like the weather and the Aurora and all that. I do want to drive up to Dalton. I want to at least get up to Adigan Pass this year and do some Aurora stuff on the way up. Maybe go all the way to Prudhoe Bay, or maybe go to Prudhoe and then drive down if I can get somebody to lease me a Suburban up there, which, I mean, I know I can. I just have to pursue it. And but I would love to do that. And actually, the Castner Glacier Ice Cave area is still pretty good. It's still looking pretty good. I don't know what it's like now, but it's been decent. I'd love to do that, though. 107 drones. What lens do I have on my streaming camera? The A7S III. I use a 24mm G Master 1.4, and it's actually at 1.4 right now, which is why you can see it. Like if I do this, you can see it, the focus breathing on the side like crazy. But it's such a good lens. It's great in low light. It's really, really good. Jeremy, trust me, I do not want to work with Sony. No, so I don't want to be like a Sony ambassador or anything like that, because you and I have had this discussion. But I do want them to send me a camera or a lens ahead of time, because like supposedly I'm on their list, but they have yet to send me. Well, they did send me an A1, you know, a year and whatever after it was released. So, you know, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, but I don't want to be like an ambassador, because I don't want to limit what I can do with other brands either. So let's see. Tariels, do I ever use the follow me features that a lot of drones have? I do from time to time. Actually, I do here and there. When I need to get shots of me in an area hiking or doing something, then I do use the follow me feature, the tracking features, and I use like the orbit features a lot. Just because then I get movement and good solid B-roll video of me in areas. I've never used it on a client shoot though. Mountain Mariner, off-grid Alaska, Clearwater, under ice, trout stream video. Well, that's what. So I would love to go up and hit up some of the high altitude, high lakes that are really super clear. Like that would be spectacular. I think to go hit some of those up. Some of the streams, maybe. I would also like to go down. Seward could be good, depending on where the water is and the time of year, to go down and get some of the stuff in Seward. Whittier would be another kind of cool spot to go do some stuff with a little underwater drone. I would love to do those things. All right, Smaxum. So you shot a video with S-Log3 settings on your A7 IV, but DaVinci Resolve Free does not recognize it. What you use to convert it that it can? Oh. Well, for one, I guess probably don't be shooting an S-Log3 right now. But that's strange. I've not heard of that problem. If anybody else has had that problem, let me know in DaVinci Resolve. Oh, it won't do 10-bit. Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, I never thought of that. So that's the issue there if you're shooting in 10-bit, which you are on the A7 IV. You could always shoot in 8-bit if you wanted to, but then you lose all the benefit of being able to color grade all that. What could you use to convert it? I think you can use like Handbrake. You could use not Handbrake. What is it? VLC media encoder, I think, right? Is that what I use when I need to convert some ridiculous thing? Yeah. So you could use VLC encoder to transcode it. Hey, Northside. And have it, output an 8-bit version of S-Log3 if you wanted to. But honestly, in the A7 IV, what I've started doing, I still use S-Log3 very often, but what I've started doing is filming a lot of stuff like this is in S-Cinetone. It's really nice. But if you can't use 10-bit, I would probably still use S-Cinetone in 8-bit and just shoot it in, or shoot S-Log3 in 8-bit, but you really lose a lot of benefits of S-Log3 with an 8-bit codec. So, yeah. Oh. Do you have any suggestions then, Jeremy? Because I didn't think of that. Man, that'd be a bummer. I wish. What about Catalyst Browse? You could use Catalyst Browse, right? Let me pull that up real quick. I think Catalyst Browse will do that. I gotta think of use Catalyst Browse. It's free from Sony. It also does the whole stabilization thing. Pull it in. It'll apply a 709 LUT if you want to, look, and then anyway. But then when you export it, you can set what you want it to export as, so yeah, I would try that. Oh, that's right. Little blown, a little hot. Yeah, so I'm redoing a lot of stuff in my studio, which is why it's also kind of a mess. And Oops, wrong direction. There we go. And my lighting is all messed up, and just everything's all messed up. And then I haven't been here much either, so that also is messing things up. But yeah. I don't know what else. Yeah. Oh, Jeremy. Oh, the Mini 3D log. Oh, dang. That sucks. Smack some. Yeah. So for now, I would just go through Catalyst Browse, and then you can export everything. Anyway, you can export it out of Catalyst Browse as a different file type and as a different bit rate, if I remember right. I guess I should look up and make sure I'm not just blowing smoke, right? You can stabilize, you can do that. All right, so then if we do this, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to do that. There we go. So sorry, I'm looking. You can do the output color space. Oh, can you choose bit rate though? Format, same as source. You can choose a lot of different options. Like you could export it as ProRes if you wanted to. Frame size, you could change that. Yeah, and you can cut the size down, XAVCS. So I would start there, and see what you can do there. Because you can export it as a bunch of different things. Huh, yeah. Try that. I don't know if it converts it to 8-bit though. That's the only other thing. Otherwise, until then, shoot some stuff with your A7 IV in 8-bit to mess around with DaVinci more. I mean, honestly, like the nice thing about the paid version of DaVinci is you pay it once. It's not cheap, but you pay it once, and then you're good for a year on upgrades and all that. And it's a really, really powerful program. Yeah. With drones, do I shoot 4K 30 or 4K 60? So it depends on my client requests. I generally just shoot in the highest resolution possible. So 5.1 if I'm using the Mavic 3, 6K if I'm using Inspire. But yeah, I generally do that. And then I almost always we need it in, D-Log and in 24 FPS or 23.98 or 29.97, depending on what they want. A lot of times doing live broadcast or stuff that's going to go to live broadcast, they actually want it in 60 because they film a lot of other stuff in 60 too, and that way they can manipulate it time-wise if they need to. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Now I feel like it's too dark, though. I think I'm going to up it back up just a hair. Oops. We'll go there. Tar Heels, how did I get started doing drone work? Love to do some on the side. So Tar Heels, I am going to do a video about this. My journey to doing what I'm doing now has been somewhat bizarre, but I bought a drone really just to film my kids and I doing fun stuff out in the mountains here in Alaska in the summers, and then posted some about it on YouTube, and that's when YouTube, I realized there was a whole thing with YouTube, business model and stuff behind it. And then I also posted stuff on Instagram here and there, just little clips and things, and people saw those clips and saw those things and then started asking me to do drone work for them. I also, like early on, I picked a few businesses that I wanted to work with to create some content for, and I did it for free just so I could build a portfolio. But I picked those businesses. I didn't take like anybody who asked me to do it for them. It was stuff that I really wanted to do, businesses that I liked and that were willing to work with me to, make it equitable for both of us. So I did it for free. In return, I got to use their products for a time or whatever it was. So yeah, that's how I got started. And then a few of those clips I posted on YouTube, on Instagram, stuff like that. It word of mouth started to spread. People in the right places saw them, and so like that's how I ended up working for Caterpillar and stuff like that. And then it's kind of snowballed from there. So yeah, but that's what I tell people when you're wanting to get started in one of these types of things, like video work, drone work, anything like that. You pick 5, no more than 5. I wouldn't do more than 5, but if you have the skills to do it now, like capture stuff well and all that, then you pick 5 businesses and work with them to create some just small, short content. It doesn't need to consume your whole life. It shouldn't consume your whole life. But businesses that you like, they might be friends of yours. They might not. They might be places that you go to regularly and you just really like their product or whatever, and work with them to create it. You need to have your Part 107, stuff like that. But and then you build that. And then the deal is that they, have to help you, like introduce you to other people that might be interested in paying for your services, and help. So it's a win-win for both of you. They get free content or promotional material, whatever, and you get promoted as well. And then you go to, you can go to like Chamber of Commerce meetings, stuff like that with them if they go to those things, and just start introducing yourself and who you are and what you do. But to do that well, you need to have something that you can show people, like this is some of my other work that I've already done, because that really helps. So it's always a lot of like pavement pounding in the beginning, regardless of what you're going to do. But yeah, I don't encourage people to just take any jobs that come along. They're like, hey, you want to try out your drone on this for free? Here you go. It needs to be something you want to do if you were going to get paid or if you weren't going to get paid. And don't do more than 5, because if you have a good skill set already, then by the time you've done 5, you should have enough material to go, look, I can show you that I've shown that I am worth being paid something. And then it's a matter of, how much, and that depends greatly and varies wildly depending on where you are, what drone you're using, how much time you're putting in, what the product is, that you're giving out, like it's social media videos or like, it really varies a lot. So, and it varies some on the drone. Yeah, exactly, H4. I'll be adjusting lighting for the rest of the night. Mountain Mariner, what do I use for lens cleaning? You've got water spots on every lens you own, and a lens pen cloth don't remove the spots. Oh, honestly, Mountain Mariner, I mean, you're off grid, so this might not be easy, but there comes a time when you have to take it into a lens shop or a camera shop and have them do it professionally. But beyond that, a place to start first is make sure your lens is as clean as possible. And then they make, Zeiss makes lens cleaning wipes that you can buy. And then it just be really gentle and see, they have, a little bit of alcohol or something in them to be able to help break up those water spots. But it can be really tough. If those water spots have actually like eaten into some of the coatings on the lens, then they're there and you're not gonna be able to get rid of them. So, but yeah, a lot of times taking it to a professional, camera shop or something like that and having them do it, they'll be able to get rid of a lot of stuff that you and I cannot. And I don't know if it's that they have chemicals we don't, or equipment we don't, or they just know what to do better. But I would start there. The lens cleaning cloth, the lens pen, puffer, and then the Zeiss lens wipes is the next step in that. And if none of that works, then it's time to take it to a pro and have them at least evaluate whether or not they'd be able to get it off or not for you. Tar Heels. No, I haven't made that video yet, but I'm planning on it. It's one in the pipeline down the road. So, when filming for a show, do you have to bother much with the 180 degree? Yes, Alaska VFX. So, and commenters on YouTube have told me I'm wrong about this, but I do this for a living, so I might be right, and I might know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I'm not saying I know everything, because I do not, but I do know a few things. Very specifically, any type of professional work that I've done with any shows, any TV, anything, they want the 180 degree shutter rule. There are a few caveats to that and a few exceptions. And one is if they're going to be doing special effects work with that shot later on, then generally they actually want a much higher than 180 degree shutter. They want no motion blur at all, because then it's easier for the computer software to track everything in the scene, so then they can render in stuff that they need to render in. So some of the architecture work I've done where I've filmed empty lots that then they're going to render in an entire building, they want those at a higher shutter speed so the computer system can track the movement and then render the building in easily. Those generally aren't at high speed anyway, so that's not as big an issue. But for there you go, Smaxum. Yeah, those little ice wipes are pretty amazing, man. They're pretty awesome. So I would definitely start there. So that's one exception, is anytime there's special effects and VFX work that's going to be done in post. But that's a conversation you have to have at the beginning before you start shooting, because, yeah, I always do that. I generally always confirm this is the settings we're filming in, this frame rate, this D-log, whatever. Because I do have a lot of people that ask me to shoot in normal profile. They do not want to mess with color grading it. That's fine. I don't mind that. I just need to know that ahead of time. So that's one exception. What's the other exception? Well, the other exception is kind of weird, and it's if you're filming at, 60, and they know they're not going to slow it down, and they want to put it on a 30 FPS timeline, but they want the right amount of motion blur, you still need to set your shutter speed to be for what the timeline is going to be. So 1/60 instead of 1/120. But if they're going to slow it down at all, you need to shoot it at 1/120, so that when it slows down, they have the proper amount of motion blur. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so H4 services, what's my take on the beginner jobs on drone base, droners.io, etc.? I'm not a big fan. I'll just be honest. And it's because you go, I just feel like they want to way underpay you what you should be paid for a job. So I get a job that comes through, and it's like, go out to this piece of property, take photos from all the cardinal directions, all of the 3/4 directions, the in-between cardinal directions at this height, and then do, flyovers from this direction, that direction, and all that. And generally, like, the first offer comes through is like $50 or $60. And it is going to take you, say 15, 20 minutes to get there, 15, 30 minutes to do the actual job, maybe a little less, but probably 15 to 30 minutes minimum, 15, 20 minutes to get home, 15 to 20 minutes to get it off your drone and upload it to the server. And if you do it all perfectly and they're happy with everything, then you're good. That's a little over an hour, and it's not really worth that. And then if you wait a couple of days, they come back with another offer, 125, and then it goes up to 200 or whatever it does. So, and my big issue, that is not the big issue. Like, it's fine for getting starter jobs. My biggest issue with them was that they were consistently sending jobs out in the middle of winter in Alaska saying, we need this shot with no snow on the ground and we need it by tomorrow. And I kept telling him, I'm like, you're sending jobs saying there can't be snow on the ground or snow on the building. It is going to be snow on the ground and snow on the building for 6 months. So stop sending these jobs out for 6 months. And they just kept doing it. I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. That, and there were a few times they were like, go here. We've got all the authorizations. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I need to see those authorizations because you're literally asking me to fly right next to and in the airspace of a U.S. military base. I'm not doing that without a piece of paper saying that I've been authorized to do that, because that would be stupid. It's like same thing of going flying right next to a Class C, Class D airport, a controlled airspace airport that's busy. It just, you want to make sure. And they never were able to provide me the actual evidence that I was approved or had approval to fly there. So those were some of the things that I was like, yeah, okay, I just am not cool with that. Anyway, so, okay. Let's see. How do you manage with GoPros, the 180 shutter? I wonder about that when I see GoPro footage thrown in with what is probably red footage. Yeah, that's... So, I mean, I do the same thing when I'm shooting with GoPros on a professional shoot for whatever, FPV or something like that. I'll lock the shutter off at whatever 180 degrees is, again, unless they don't want me to. And then I will put an ND filter on it until it gets to the exposure that I need overall. So, and they generally, they know on, if they're only willing to pay for a GoPro FPV rig, or it's a camera that's going to definitely get destroyed or something like that, then they know there's limitations. And they might not like it, but there just are. And I've had those conversations with directors before where they're like, well, what are you filming on? And I tell them, you paid me for this because you did not want to pay the full rate for an Inspire 2 and 2 pilots to come out. And they'd be like, well, we're filming on an Airy, Alexa with, expensive lenses and all that. And I'm like, well, that's cool. I can give you D-Log 10-bit out of this. Your colorist, if they do a good job, can make it match up well. But again, you were not willing to pay for an Inspire or larger drone with 2 pilots. So you do have those conversations every once in a while. Generally they know if they're going cheap on something, they have to expect a little different and a little less quality. At the end of the day, people have always been happy with the footage that I've handed over to them out of the Mavic 3 or whatever we're shooting with. So, yeah. Last VFX manage GoPros. Oh, we did that. Correct Northside Hawk mate Dominic. Yep. Okay. Jeremy, any professional work, whether video or photo print, typically set parameters they're looking for. Yeah, exactly. Most part, pretty standard across big companies. Exactly. And so the biggest questions you end up, or the biggest things you need to know is, what is the frame rate that you would like this filmed in? They may be working in 30 or 24, and they may want you to film in 30 because they might be slowing it down at 80% later or something like that. But generally, there's a pretty accepted standard. The biggest thing is usually, do you want this in log or not log, so you don't have to color grade it, and making sure they understand that if you don't get it in log, you get what you get, and there's not a lot of room to push and pull it around. And then what frame rate do you want it in? Because that's what they're going to want. 98% of the time, people want the 180 degree shutter, regardless. That's what they want. The only times that I've had anybody say, no, we need you to shoot it at, if you're shooting at 30, you got to shoot it at 1/100 or 1/180, is because they're doing visual effects later in post, and they want to be able to track everything in easier than if there's too much blur and stuff. And oddly enough, I find that happens more with FPV stuff because the motion is so fast, the blur is so dramatic, that they generally would like to have a little more control over it and stabilize it a little better, differently or whatever, and then add blur in later in post. So, but Jeremy's right. anything professional has there's a standard across the board of like, this is the starting point and this is your base, and then from there you can make adaptations and adjustments as needed based on the client's needs in the end on what they're going to be doing with the footage. Mark H, thank you so much. You too. I hope you have a great new year, and I'm excited. Got some cool videos coming up. You know, some of them are just normal review stuff, but I think they're pretty cool, and some other very, very cool videos. So yeah. Personal project, Canon R5, bunch of footage, but you have a Mini 2 for some B-roll. Do you think that'll work? Can the color profile be corrected enough? Yes, it can, but what you're likely going to be doing is you'll do what you can with the Mini 2 footage, and then you'll bend the Canon footage toward the Mini 2 footage. So, but you can get them to match up fairly well. Oddly enough, DJI, the color straight out of their drones is pretty good. It's pretty accurate. Sometimes it tends to lean a little too blue, depending on the environment you're shooting in, but overall, it's pretty dang good. So it makes it fairly easy to match up with. Mark H, thank you so much for that super chat. I really appreciate it all. What time is it? Oh, goodness, it's time to wrap this up. So, thank you all for being here. Thanks for being part of the live stream tonight. It's been a while. Feels good to be chatting with you all again. Be watching. Oh, before I go, I need to know, I'm going to be redoing a bunch of this. I already redid a bunch of that over there, shelving and stuff like that to store gear on. But would you be interested in seeing a video? I was thinking about putting like a challenge video together of like, you know, can I rebuild this studio in 24 hours? Not the shelving, because that was like 2 minutes from Home Depot, but the rest of this, I'm going to redo the backdrop, the walls and stuff like that. So if you'd be interested in seeing a video like that, I will put one together. If you're not, like a studio build video, let me know. So Scott W, absolutely. It was a whirlwind trip. I mean, it was insanely fast and insanely packed. It was fun. I got to stay right on the beach in Santa Monica, which was really cool. And then drive around a bunch in LA, which is, it is what it is. but at a blast. It just was insanely busy and insanely packed because we had such a short window of time to get everything we needed to get because of the weather and because of the schedule for the people that we were there to interview. And so yeah, but absolutely, if I come back down to LA for a shoot or for anything else, I will hit let you know on Twitter, Instagram, or something like that to say I'll be in the area. So let's see. Jose, do you have a video explaining gain and expo tuning for the new version of the DJI Fly app? No, I don't yet, Jose, but I will see if I can put one together for you. Because now that everything with the DJI Fly app, I feel like I basically need to do a beginner's guide over again with this thing. So, all right, there. Max Air, what's up, dude? All right, that's it for the stream. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of this channel and for hanging out with me tonight or this afternoon or today, wherever you are. Yeah, I have a few videos coming before the new year comes, but I won't see you again on the new year until the next live stream. So I hope you all had a great Christmas. Happy New Year, and we'll see you again soon in the next video. Cheers, everybody.